Hello and welcome to the Geek Legion of Doom. This is going to be my Blu-ray and Funko Pop update for March and kind of mid-April, I guess. Decided to do it now, what the hell. So there's not a huge amount, but I think if you are a kind of genre fan, horror, sci-fi, fantasy, I may have some things you might like, so come check it out. We'll start off with the Funko Pops, and we will start off with Antivenom. Now this one is actually a glow-in-the-dark version. In the UK you can only get, as far as I know at the moment, the non-glow-in-the-dark version, which in itself is an underground exclusive. So this one I actually got from Pop Culture, which is an Australian site, and they have the glow-in-the-dark variant. Now they don't actually have any type of stickers on the front that kind of say that they're exclusive or anything like that, but as you can see, it's got the glow-in-the-dark sticker, and I have to tell you, this one glows in the dark beautifully. Very, very bright, and because I think some of these, sometimes they're not quite as good in the glow-in-the-dark ones. Cthulhu, I'm looking at you. And anyway, that one is pretty damn good in the glow-in-the-dark arena, shall we say. The next one I will talk about is Evil Ed, basically, or Zombie Ed, from Shaun of the Dead. Now this is as you can see here, an underground exclusive, which is the UK distributor. So you can get the kind of the standard Ed, and you can also get a blood splattered Ed, but this one is the zombie version. Now I actually did originally order this one from, see that little blood splatters there? Excellent. I did originally order this one from Pop Culture, but I didn't press submit, so I never actually got it, then it sold out, but I found it in the UK, so here it is. And then I also got this one, the same time as I got Antivenom, I got Melisandre. Now this one is a variant, but again it doesn't actually say on the sticker or anything like that, but it is, compared to the standard version at least. And I don't know how well you'll see it, but it's kind of slightly translucent. So I don't know if I can kind of just catch the light there. So it's this translucent Melisandre, or semi-translucent anyway. Obviously, if you don't know who she is, she's from Game of Thrones. My final pop is another glow-in-the-dark one, this one being from Fallout, and this is Vault Boy, and this is the glow-in-the-dark version. This is the UK edition, as you can see by the Underground Toys label here. It glows pretty well, I have to say. I do like my glow-in-the-dark ones. I'm not actually a huge fan of the Fallout game. I prefer Skyrim, if I'm completely honest, but there you go. So we'll move on to the Blu-rays now. So the first Blu-ray I got was the Vampire Journals. Now this one is actually a spin-off from the series, the Subspecies series. But I love this film. This is a great gothic Interview the Vampire style film. It's an older one now, but this is not available in Europe. So I actually had to get a American version, which I didn't know would work, to be honest. But it turns out it's actually multi-region, so happy days. I really like this film. It's kind of a bit slow, and it's obviously a little cheesy, but it's a great gothic vampire film, I think. The next one I've also got is also from America, and this one isn't multi-region. I haven't actually tested it yet to see if my Blu-ray will actually still play it. And I actually only got this for one film, which is Galaxina. I don't really care about this film, to be honest with you. I don't really like getting like double packs and things like that, because I'd prefer to have a singular edition of a film. But Galaxina is one of my all-time favourite kind of B-movies. It's a kind of a spoof on kind of sci-fi films like Star Wars and Star Trek. It's an older film now, and it stars Dorothy Stratton, who was a playmate for Playboy, and she was murdered shortly after this film was completed by her partner, who was basically just very jealous of the sort of attention she was getting, and murdered her. So that was her like kind of last time you ever saw her in film. And then we go on to Star Wars: The Force Awakens. This is the UK Zavvi exclusive steelbook, although it is the same steelbook as everywhere basically, but in the UK it's distributed by Zavvi, and obviously the J card here will be specific to the UK. I've got to be honest with you, I watched this again after obviously first seeing it at the cinema, and I don't like it as much as I thought I did, and even then I had my issues with it. So I think it's better than the sequels, although I think it's not a fantastic film, if I'm completely honest. Now I've kind of watched it again and had time to digest it. Next up we're going to be talking about Howl. Now I got this on standard Blu-ray, but I loved it so much I thought I would get a limited edition version. Now the only limited edition version you can get, as far as I know, is this German media book. Obviously a kind of significantly different cover there. This is a British werewolf film, in case you didn't guess. and basically it's about a group of survivors as they try and survive this werewolf attack as their train breaks down in the middle of nowhere. Next up, I got, also from Germany, I got the Hallow. This was a fantastic little horror film that I think it's an Irish film. It's available on DVD in the UK, but not on Blu-ray. So I wanted to get it on Blu-ray, so I had to get the German version, although it's an English language film, so it's obviously the original soundtrack's already on there. A great creature feature. If you like monsters and things like that, I would check out the Hallow. So I mentioned fantasy. And of course, no self-respecting fantasy wouldn't be out with Game of Thrones, obviously HBO's award-winning series. And I decided to get the Steelbooks for this one. Now, in the UK, you can only get the first and second season, and they basically come with this magnet that basically is all the kind of the sigils of all the different kind of houses and things in Game of Thrones, and that kind of sits on the front of the Steelbook. So this is season 1. I believe you can get later seasons on the Steelbook in other countries, but I kind of rather get the whole kind of set so that they kind of match. I've also got the season 2, which you can see there has a different kind of sigil on it. So obviously with all the different houses on there, fantastic TV. I'm sure most people are watching it. I have spoken to some people who haven't watched Game of Thrones. I'm always surprised about that. I thought pretty much everyone watched Game of Thrones, but apparently no. Next up, I got a French Steelbook of Chronicle. I picked this up on eBay, to be honest with you, for quite cheap. I was kind of, I did quite like this, and I hadn't had it on, before, so I'd seen it on cinema, I think, but I didn't have it on the disc or anything. So I picked up the Steelbook French version, so that's quite cool. And then finally, for this update, I got Turbo Kid. Now, if you've watched my channel, you know how much I like Turbo Kid. This one is a Canadian Steelbook. So obviously it's a Canadian movie, so stands to reason they'll get some exclusive stuff. And it's a cool looking Steelbook. It actually has, using both of my hands at the moment, it's difficult to show you, but it actually has like a clear slip that goes over the front of it as well. I've actually ordered another version of Turbo Kid. So it's the only real film other than Marvel films where I've ordered multiple copies of. But it's such a good film if you haven't seen Turbo Kid. It's basically a kind of a Mad Max kind of retro style film. Basically, it's 2015, but it's made like it was made in the 80s. It's very hard to explain, but check it out. It's fun, it's gory, it's action packed, and it's got a fantastic soundtrack by Matos. Anyway, that concludes my Funko Pop and Blu-ray updates for, I guess, the last sort of 6 weeks or so. What did you think of it? Anything you like out of that one? Anything you didn't like? Leave me a comment and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.